Hi everyone, and a very warm welcome to all of you to this episode of Mahabharat, Heroes and Their Stories. Karan. Karan, also known as Vasusena Anga-raja and Radheya, is one of the main protagonists of the Hindu epic Mahabharat. He is the son of the sun god Surya and Princess Kunti, the mother of Pandavas, and thus a demigod of royal birth. Kunti was granted the boon to bear a child with desired divine qualities from the gods, and without much knowledge, Kunti invoked the sun god to confirm it, if it was true indeed. Karan was secretly born to an unmarried Kunti in her teenage years, and fearing outrage and backlash from society over her premarital pregnancy, Kunti had no choice but to abandon the newly born Karan adrift in a basket on the Ganges, in the hope that he finds foster parents. The basket is discovered and Karan is adopted and raised by foster Suta parents named Radha and Adhirath Nandana of the charioteer and poet profession, working for King Dhritarashtra. Karan grows up to be an accomplished warrior of extraordinary abilities, a gifted speaker, and becomes a loyal friend of Duryodhan. He was appointed the king of Anga by Duryodhan. Karan joined Duryodhan's side in the Kurukshetra war. He was a key warrior who aimed to kill the third Pandav, Arjun, but instead dies in a battle with him during the war. He is a tragic hero in Mahabharat. He meets his biological mother late in the epic and then discovers that he is the older half brother of those he is fighting against. Karan is a symbol of someone who is rejected by those who should love him, but do not given the circumstances. Yet becomes a man of exceptional abilities, willing to give his love and life as a loyal friend. His character is developed in the epic to raise and discuss major emotional and dharma dilemmas. Karan was also called with many names. Some of them are Vasusena. Original name of Karna means born with wealth, as he was born with natural armor and earrings. Suryaputra, son of Surya. Radheya, son of Radha, Karan's adopted mother. Sudputra, son of Charioteer. Angaraj, king of Anga. Danveer, one who has an undying charitable nature or one who is exceptionally munificent or generous. Vijayadhari, holder of bow named Vijaya, which was gifted by Lord Parshuram. Vekartana, one who belongs to the solar race, related to Surya. Vishya, one who is truthful in speech and keeps his vows. According to the legend, there was a king of the Yadava dynasty named Shursen who had a beautiful young daughter named Pritha, who was later adopted by Kunti Bhoj and came to be known as Kunti. A rishi named Durvasa visited the king for a lengthy stay and was housed as his palace guest. Kunti Bhoj asked Pritha to ensure that Durvasa's stay was comfortable. On leaving, having been delighted with his stay and her diligent services, Durvasa thanked her and gave her the Siddha mantra, telling her that if she ever wants, she can invoke any deity to give her a child. Teenage Pritha became curious, wondered if the mantra would really work. And as the sun rose one morning, she initiated the mantra through which she could invoke any divine god being to provide her a son. we call the sun god Surya. He came with a golden glow, dressed up in jewelry and breastplate, and provided her with her first son. Pritha felt confused and ashamed, worried what everyone will think and how she will embarrass her family. At that time, according to Vedic civilization, if a girl gives birth to a child before marriage, they are less likely to get married. So, she put the newborn baby in a padded basket and set it adrift on a small river, Ashwa Nadi, by the palace. Later, Kunti got dressed with children, Yudhishthir, Bhim, and Arjun, using the same mantra. The same mantra was used by Kunti to allow her co-wife Madhuri to conceive Nakul and Sahadev. The spiritual fathers of the five Pandavas were Yama, Vayu, Indra, and the two Ashwani Kumars. As the adolescent mother abandons her unwanted child on the river, she laments, and the epic verses describe her emotions with heartbreaking poetry. The basket floats, reaches the river Charmanvati, which carries it to Yamuna River. The basket floats on and reaches the Ganga River, and on it into the kingdom of Anga. There it is found by a charioteer's wife, Radha, who takes the baby Karan to her husband, Adhirath Nandana. They adopt him right away and name him Vasusena. They love him and raise him just like their own son. While he was growing up, his adopted parents let Karan know that they had found and adopted him. This knowledge affects Karan. He feels ashamed that he was abandoned, and this frames his sense of self-identity through the epic. Karan meets Duryodhan for the first time in Hastinapur during archery lessons from Drona, an event described in section 3.293 of the Mahabharat. They become close friends not long after when Karan and Arjun are at a weapons trial competition. Duryodhan sees in Karan a man who is an equal of Arjun in martial abilities and someone to befriend to balance out Arjuna and thereby diminish the Pandavas. Before the competition starts, the contestants must announce their lineage so that men of equal ranks are placed together. After Arjun announces his royal lineage, it is time for Karan to present his lineage. If Karan were to announce his charioteer lineage, it would disqualify him from competing against Arjun. Duryodhan steps in and says Karan is an Arajana, or a non-king, but also a wordplay on Arjun, and announces that he is offering to anoint Karan as the king of Angas. Once Karan is a king, states Duryodhan, Arjun would not have the excuse to avoid Karan and not compete with the able warrior. Karan accepts the anointment, becomes a king that day. It also transforms him into a loyal friend to Duryodhan with an eagerness to reciprocate the favor. Karan asks Duryodhan what he would want in return for the kingdom he just gave out of his empire. Duryodhan replies, I want your endless friendship, Karan. For the consecration ceremony, Karan's father arrives. Bhima, one of the Pandavas, ridicules him for his low status and calls him dog-like. The public insult of his father makes Karan hate the Pandavas. At the end of the competition, while everyone rejects Karan, Duryodhan expresses amity to Karan by taking Karan by his hand. Karan feels Duryodhan is that friend who stood by him when everyone rejected him. Duryodhana becomes Karan's long life close friend. In Karan, Duryodhan finds an able man and talented commander who can help him gain and retain power over an empire. In Duryodhan, Karan finds a caring friend and a resourceful supporter when almost everyone is bent on ridiculing and disowning him. Karan evolves into a character who shares Duryodhan's view that Pandavas are bad and enemies, though for different reasons. Karan participates with Duryodhan in schemes to effect the downfall of the Pandavas. Duryodhan provides the goals, Karan conspires the means to get there. In the final year of the exile of the Pandavas, Duryodhan plans to sow dissension and keep the entire empire to himself. In contrast, Bhishma and Drona suggest a conciliation and dividing the kingdom into two, half for Kauravas and other for Pandavas. Karan, in contrast, adopts the hawkish approach and becomes the first to suggest a direct confrontation in the form of Kurukshetra war. He calls for "together we shall slay the Pandavas" as the final solution. Karan persistently recommends violence and an all-out war to settle things once and for all by good, brave warriors. Karan also accuses Bhishma and Drona as covetous materialists and dishonest in counseling Duryodhan with non-violent strategies. Duryodhana has evil intentions and is a bad king, but it is Karan who fuels Duryodhan's ambition and fights his battle. With Duryodhan, Karan is key participant in insulting the Pandavas and Draupadi. He humiliates the Pandavas with his gift of speech and mocks Draupadi, then calls her a lowly woman and asks Dushasana to strip off her clothes. It is Karan's language and insults that hurt the Pandavas and Draupadi the most, a sentiment that is noted in numerous verses of Mahabharat, such as 3.13.113 and 5.93.11. Yet, Karan regrets his harsh words to Draupadi and Pandavas in verse 5.139.45, where he confesses he spoke so to please Duryodhan. The relationship between Karan and the Pandavas, particularly Arjun, were hostile. The Mahabharat mentions Karan as the main challenger of Arjun at sporting and skills competition. At martial sporting events, Arjun and Karan were often equal. Though, in a self-bragging style, Karan once announced that he will perform any feat that Arjun has accomplished and do it better. At the Swayamvar competition of Draupadi, where she is expected to choose a husband, both Arjun and Karan are present. Arjun and his brothers, however, are disguised as Brahmins. They use this false identity in exile because Duryodhan had attempted to kill them using various schemes, including burning the lacquer house, custom built for Pandavas by Duryodhan, along with the forest while they were sleeping. There are some variations regarding Karan's participation in the same. Some renditions show Draupadi refusing to marry Karan on account of being a Sudputra, while some other versions describe him foiling to string the bow by the breadth of a hair. In the end, Arjun succeeds in the task. However, Karan objects that the competition is only meant for Kshatriyas, and Brahmins, such as the one who just stung the bow, should not be competing for hand of Draupadi, a Kshatriya bride. Duryodhan supports him. The gathered Kshatriyas too angrily support Karan, for they are against the mixing of Varnas. Arjun maintains his calm and continues to hide his true identity, insists that he is a Brahmin who fights. Arjuna's accomplishments and calmness win Draupadi's heart. Draupadi picks Arjun and awards the garland to him, signifying that she chooses to marry the disguised Brahmin Arjun. The Vern-based discrimination and verbal insults on Arjun for lovely Draupadi's hand, one that Karan initiated at the time of Draupadi's Swayamvar competition, comes back to haunt him many times through angry Bhima and others who remind Karna that he is merely a Sutputra, son of a charioteer. Draupadi too never likes Karna thereafter. Karan fights and berates the Pandav at the legendary gambling match during the royal consecration ritual. There, Karan uses the choicest words to insult Draupadi that takes the bitterness of Pandavas for Karna to much more emotional level from what previously was a dispute about respective marital prowess. These are the sections of the epic when the Pandavas, Arjun in particular, openly pledges to kill Karan. Karan retaliates with words too, stating that Arjun's death is so near that he will not wash his feet until Arjun is slain. Karan is not proud of his anger and outbursts. Later, in a quieter moment with Krishna, such as in section 5.139.45, and to his long life friend Duryodhan in section 8.1.7, Karan confides he was wrong in insulting Draupadi and the Pandavas. It is his past karma that haunts him and is the source of his private suffering. Mahabharat describes two meetings where Karan discovers information about his birth. The first meeting is with Krishna. The second, where his biological mother Kunti comes to meet him for the first time. Krishna approaches Karan as an ambassador seeking to prevent violence and the war. Krishna states by complimenting Karna for knowing the Vedas and the subtlety of the Dharmashastras. He then requests his support to end the cascading cycle of violence and war. Krishna tells Karan that Kunti is his biological mother and Pandavas are his half-brothers. In section 5.138 of the epic, Krishna states, by law, Karan should be considered as the eldest born of Pandavas, that he can use this information to become the king. Through this relationship to his mother, Kunti, all Vrishnis or Krishna's side will also recognize him and be his tributary. He can be the emperor with power over everyone. Yudhishthir will hold the fan for him as he sits in the throne. Bhima, his umbrella, and the common wife of Pandavas, Draupadi, too, says Krishna, may marry him. After some time, for Karna to press his status as the eldest biological Pandava brother, end the war and rule the world. Karan declines the offer. Karan replies that though he was born from Kunti, it was the wife of the charioteer Radha who gave him love and sustenance, and that makes his real mother. Similarly, it is from the love and affection and non-scripture that he knows Adhiratha to be his real father. He is already married, says Karna. He has two sons and two grandsons, all because his father Adhirath helped him settle into married life. What matters most in life are the bonds of love, according to Karan, and not power over the world. He shall betray no one, remain loyal to those who love him, including his friend Duryodhan, to whom he has been in allegiance for 13 years. It is not blood ties that matter, but how someone treats you over a period of time that does. He made a promise to Duryodhan and he will keep it. It is his duty to fight Arjun. Krishna then went to Kunti and asked her to meet Karan and tell him that he is her firstborn son and the Pandavas were his brothers. Krishna left it to her to choose between Karan and her 5 other sons. Kunti then went to meet Karan, finds him praying. She waits. After he finished his prayers to Surya, Karan meets Kunti for the first time in his adult life. He greets her, and knowing her to be his biological mother. With folded hands, he introduces himself as the son of Radha and Adhirath and inquires about the purpose of her visit. Kunti then confesses that he is her firstborn. Surya also appears and confirms Kunti's story and suggests that he follows her. Karan says that though he may have been the firstborn, he never received the affection or care from her as the firstborn. You discarded me, says Karan to Kunti. You destroyed me in a way no enemy could ever do to him. It is too late. He reiterates that he loves the parents who raised him. They love him and he will remain loyal to his lifelong relationships. No one should abandon those who give respect and affection, says Karan in those Mahabharat verses. The war monument shall continue and he aims to kill Arjun. Karan promises to Kunti that he will not kill any of his other four brothers, but either Arjun or I shall die, and she can still say she has 5 sons just as she did all her life. After these developments and pondering on Karna's life choices, the divine Krishna, as well as a host of Mahabharat heroes, in private and after his death, honor Karan as Satpurush, the best among those who understand and uphold Dharma. As the second last day of the war and Karna's day of death draws, Karan asks Duryodhan to convince King Shalya to be his charioteer, since he plans to kill Arjun that day. The South Indian king considers it below his dignity to be a mere charioteer and starts insulting Karan, who retaliates with words. Duryodhan intervenes, praises both, presses Shalya to guide the chariot for the crucial battle. Ultimately, Shalya agrees. Since all previous commanders of Duryodhan had been killed, he anoints Karan as the Senapati, or the commander of all his forces, for the first time. Karan and Shalya head into the battlefield together, though they keep insulting each other's abilities and intent, and lack mutual devotion and teamwork. Together, they reach Arjun and Krishna. They battle that day, each showing his martial skill of attack as well as his ability to neutralize all weapons that reach their chariot. Then, the wheel of Karan's chariot gets stuck in the ground. Karan steps out of the chariot and is distracted while trying to unstick it. Arjun, whose own son was killed by the Kauravas a day ago while he was trying to unstick his chariot's wheel, takes this moment to launch the fatal attack. Karan dies. With this, we come to an end to this episode of Mahabharat and its heroes. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, this is your host, Madhulika Rajahan, signing off. Stay healthy always. Narayan Narayan.